What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more AmITheButtHole. And if you love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, that subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Don't forget about our little Halloween art-based competition where you can win some merch, hoodies and t-shirts. Link to the Discord is in the description. Go over there, get involved, and let's crack on with today's first story. From Reddit Throwaway, which does follow with an update. It's a story we read about a week or so ago, I think it was, but now it follows with an update. So if you heard it before, want to use the timestamps, please feel free to use them. And it's titled, "Am I the arsehole for insisting my brother's girlfriend prove she's pregnant or she has to move out?" My female 20 brother, 24, has been on and off with his girlfriend, 27, for a couple of years now. It's been the same song and dance. They're happy for a few weeks, then something small happens. They argue, it gets really nasty, and they make up and back to a loving couple. When I learned my brother got kicked out of his apartment and needed a place to stay, I offered him the extra room in my apartment, and my brother agreed to pay rent, help with bills, and pitch in with food. For 3 months now, she's been announcing she's pregnant. She alone will eat a snack box with 50 small bags of chips in a week. I tried to reason with her and get her to cut back, not only from overeating, but she was running us low on food. But she insists she and the baby are healthy and it's just cravings, blah blah blah. Since last month, most of what my parents sends to my house, my mum is a couponer, so she bulk shops and gives away what she has too much of. My brother's girlfriend is the first to get into it, and a large portion of it is gone by a few days to a week. From a case of 24 of Monster, the energy drink if you're not familiar, 8 will be gone in a week just from her. She eats a hell of a lot of food too, most of which no pregnant woman should be consuming so much of, and yes, I know all pregnancies are different, but words can't explain how much she eats in one sitting. So today, I had seen her drinking coffee, and after a second cup, I asked her if she should be drinking so much, and she said her doctor told her it was fine and she had no worries. When I suggested she take on a healthier diet for the baby, she just scoffed and walked out. I went and asked my brother if he's been to any of her doctor appointments or even seen a positive pregnancy test, and he said he didn't. I confronted her about it, and she said she didn't have to prove anything and started to get defensive. I told her she needed to show a test or some proof of going to the doctor, or she needs to move out as she doesn't help at all. My brother started defending her and changed his answer from not seeing any proof to seeing her pregnancy test. My parents got word of what I said, and my mum says I was in no place to say anything, and every woman's body is different and I wouldn't know since I've never been pregnant. Am I the arsehole? And there is a mini edit before we go to the update, which we're going to cover after the comments because I think that's the best place for it. And I think I remember going down the path on this one as like, you shouldn't be focusing on the pregnancy, just the fact, she's eating too much of your food, freeloading in your place, and just has an entitled attitude on top of it all. If I was in that position, pregnant or not, and I was living in someone's place and not contributing anything, I would be very, very thankful to that person, and not try to cross them, basically. And I do think I remember a lot of comments talking about, pregnant women and Monster Energy and energy drinks in general, a bad decision. But let's check out a couple of those comments again, and then we'll move on to the edit, then update. From FSBBEM, who says, kinda not the arsehole. Asking for proof is extreme, but she's also eating you out of house and home. Even if she is actually pregnant, she probably needs to find a place of her own and get herself her own food. Do you really want a family of 3 living with you? When the mum and dad have a shit show of a relationship? Spoiler alert, you do not. Lizzie says not the arsehole, and if your mother is so concerned, maybe she should house your brother and his girlfriend. Typical nefariousness says not the arsehole since she is not contributing and is taking advantage, but I wouldn't make it a condition. I would simply tell them that they need to find different accommodations or she needs to contribute. Side note, energy drinks while pregnant are not safe or healthy. 2 cups of coffee isn't bad. Sleepy V-Line says not the arsehole. Normally I'd say it's none of your business, but she is living in your home and eating your food. She can't claim it's pregnancy cravings etc. if she doesn't want to prove she's pregnant. And one more from Individual Ad who says, not the arsehole. This fight about her pregnancy is really about the fact that your brother and she are freeloading off you. I'll tell them both to move out. Then the edit said, I did talk to her a while ago about getting the job as well as helping out financially, and she said she'd start and never has. Right, so based off the majority of the comments I overstepped, yes, but I'm going to go with my gut on this one and give them their 30 days notice and call it a day. I'll for sure update you guys in a month, when they're to be gone, and let you all, who's interested, know what's happened by then. I keep repeating myself, let me add my brother knows everything I've said, the excessive caffeine, no ultrasound, etc. Yes, my brother still buys their tampons monthly, and I know this because he goes with me when I buy mine. No, I was not faking concern by the coffee comment. She drinks 2 cups of coffee a day, along with Monster. That's a ton of caffeine. So the update says, okay, so I gave my brother and his girlfriend the 30 days notice, and they were to leave this Friday, but as of last Friday, I have my place to myself again. Basically, they fed me a bunch of lies since I gave them the 30 days notice. First it was, she can't get an appointment or an ultrasound because of all the COVID patients. Then brother's girlfriend shows me a sonogram picture from her phone that I later found on Google Images. I asked why it was on her phone. She said it was emailed to her after a doctor's appointment that she couldn't get. Then my brother brought home some baby clothes last week to sell the lie, I guess. But they weren't clothes for a newborn. It was a lot of 9 to 12 months and 2 years. When I asked him why none were proper clothes for newborns, he said so he can grow into them. Was told she was pregnant with a girl. I didn't bother to ask any more questions because I knew it was going to be lies on top of lies. Then Friday I got home to them arguing at each other's throats. Eventually I called the cops because they weren't letting up. At this point they both come clean with the truth. Brother's truth. His girlfriend is the reason he was kicked out of his place. Then she needed a place to stay because her parents kicked her out, so she forced him to let her stay in my house by faking being pregnant. He said after the first month he knew she wasn't pregnant because she got her period, but she forced him to keep up the lie, so I'd let her stay. Girlfriend's truth. Brother invited her to stay at my place, and to make sure I wouldn't say no, he told her to fake a pregnancy and I'd be sympathetic. Won't go into detail, but I'm 100% certain that part she said was true, and I wouldn't question her using tampons as he'll make up a lie for her. She said he told her to eat up all the food because it'll make it all seem legit. So that's about all. I'm still unsure who's telling the truth, but they both got all of their belongings and went their own way, I assume, so it's not my problem anymore. Holy moly, and I'm so glad that you've got your place back and that, you know, you trusted yourself in the end and you believed yourself in what was going on. And they're arguing, it just doesn't sound like a good relationship. It sounds like a real toxic relationship. They both came to you with their own truths in the end and basically blamed each other. And I can just picture you in that situation, you know, being told the truth by each of them. And you just like, I really don't give a shit no more. Just move out, please. That's how I sort of feel after reading that story. I just want them out of my hypothetical apartment right now. Get your asses out. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to the next story. And our next story comes from Mr. Rosie, who says, am I the arsehole? I refuse to share diet with my pregnant wife. I, 27 male, am a nutritionist and fitness trainer. My wife, 23 female, is a stay-at-home wife. She's now 5 months pregnant. My mum came to our home to help my wife out as she's having a difficult pregnancy. She's being made to only eat green leafy vegetables, other veggies, rice, Indian flatbread, lentils and curd. My mum makes bland food for her since she's unable to keep anything down. My mum is also very strict about her not eating too much oil, sweets, junk, etc. I make separate food containing meat, eggs, milk, spices, etc. for myself and my mum. I and my mum do the household chores since my wife is unable to do anything due to severe nausea, bloating, acidity, etc. My wife has started to feel bad because she's stuck eating bland food while we eat spice food containing meat. I tried consoling her by telling her that it's just for 4 more months, but she said since she is likely to have a C-section, she'll not be allowed to have anything but bland food for 2 months at least. My mum said she'll have to eat it longer than that, as eating spicy and non-vegetarian food is bad for nursing women. My wife then told me she wants me to give her company by eating the same food as her. I refused because I prefer animal protein over plant protein. I however told her that I'd stop eating junk foods, sweets, etc. She is now mad at me and is saying that I'm selfish for not even sacrificing my current food habits for her. Am I the arsehole? And we're going to start straight away with Glitter Sparkle Davine on this one, who says, shouldn't your wife be the one to decide what she eats? It's her body after all. She should be the one to decide if she needs bland food or not. Edit, you're the arsehole for controlling your wife's choices. Edit, for everyone who thinks this was a doctor's advice, where in the post is a doctor mentioned. OP mentions in the comments that the doctor is concerned about her weight, not nausea, and that she should cut out sweets, which is a weird worry for a pregnancy where the woman is supposedly having trouble holding down food. OP also said that it's tradition, not verifiable medical advice, to make pregnant/nursing women eat bland food and cut out sweets. Nowhere does it say that the wife is okay with other people telling her what to eat. Pangolian Signal 3674 says you're the arsehole for letting someone keep her on that miserable diet and then eating things outside of that diet around her, unless an actual doctor recommended it. If your wife thinks she can handle meat and spicier foods, she should be allowed to try them again. If she pukes consistently still when she eats it, fine. Look at taking another break from them. I don't think it's at all uncommon for pregnant women to have trouble with nausea and keeping food down in the first trimester and a bit beyond. Then for the situation to level out. She needs a well-rounded diet, even more than you do. Her body is working hard. I've also never heard of diet restrictions like that after a C-section, and I've known several who've gotten them. Cake Eating Rabbit says you're the arsehole. You and your mother are extremely controlling, and in that, cold and selfish. It is actually unhealthy to eat an extremely condensed diet while pregnant, and it's important to have a diversified diet. Hippolyta 1978 says, what? Your mum is telling your wife what she can and can't eat. You're the arsehole, and this is fucked up. Let's finish with Mr. Hamman 80 who says you're the arsehole, largely because it seems like sentences like non-vegetarian food is bad for nursing women is not based on fact. Surely there's a compromise between not eating all the spicy yet still being able to eat a balanced diet with meat, etc. Pregnant women don't have to go vegan. I don't think you necessarily need to have the same diet as your wife, by the way, but surely there's better compromises than what's going on here. Get a doctor's advice and let your wife decide based on that. It sounds like you're letting your mum be very overly controlling here. Now, what do you guys make of this story? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to the next one. Now, our next story comes from True Communication 791, and I always love these ones when they got a title like this. I'm not sure what it is about them, but am I the arsehole because I wouldn't duck down on a roller coaster so a family could have a family pic of just them? I was on a roller coaster, I guess if you can consider it that. It's one of those water rides that have tracks to pull it. Anyways, the boat fits like 6 people in it, and I was with a family of 5. I was in the back, and when we were going up to the top they asked me to duck down, as when we're going straight down there will be a photo and they wanted a family photo. I'm not sure if it's against the rules. I think I would have been safe if I did it, but I really just didn't want to, and I felt like I shouldn't have to duck for them, so I said no. The parents kept arguing with me, telling me to duck so they can have their family photo, and they called me a spoiled brat. I told them to go fuck themselves, and then we started going down. This is where I may have been the arsehole. I flipped off the camera and made a funny face with my tongue out. Holy shit, when they looked at the photos they were livid, saying I ruined their opportunity to have a nice family photo. They asked where my parents were, and I told them to get lost. Their kids were just laughing their asses off. I'm not sure if they bought the photos or not. The dude who operated the photos said I was immature and I need to grow up. Look, it's one of those everyone sucks here or justified arsehole moments. If I was on a roller coaster and I had some random in the boat with me, there's no way I would ask that person to duck down so I could have a photo. Imagine if it was a reversed situation. You had the family in front of you and said, hey guys, I just want to have a little selfie moment here. Can you all duck down just yourself in the boat? Hey! Actually, I'm changing my verdict once again. There's an absolute not the arsehole from me in this. They were bloody rude. I don't think I could ever consider asking someone to do that if I was on a roller coaster with someone else, asking them to ruin their experience for me. I think that's just rude in itself. And your response, you know, as we always say, there's probably a better way of approaching these things, but at the same time, heat of the moment and all that. Yeah, sod it. Not the arsehole. Let's move to the comments to see what they say. With York's Pirate, who says, not the arsehole, immature, yes. Funny, also yes. Would I have done the same? Definitely yes. Needs420 says, not the arsehole, you should have considered asking them to all duck down because you wanted a solo portrait and they were ruining it for you. Melusi says, if you're going to an amusement park ride to get a nice family photo, you're just an idiot. That was rude of them to ask you to duck down. I love what you did. Moya Moya Warrior says, not the arsehole. To ask is one thing, to keep pushing and calling you a spoiled brat when they were acting like they owned the place is another. Good for you, OP. Better Physics says, not the arsehole. It would never occur to me to tell a stranger to duck. They were the arseholes, but flipping people off in a family photograph that isn't even in your family is an arsehole move regardless. You enjoyed being the arsehole, you know you did. I wouldn't worry too much. Edited, I have reconsidered my judgment. If these people were asking where your parents were, you were obviously underage. Repeatedly arguing with a child when there is a group of you is bullying. Bullies deserve to be flipped off. Go in peace, not the arsehole. Now, what do you guys make of this situation? Bit of a strange one there. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to another story. And our next story comes from Puzzleheaded18833, titled, Am I the Arsehole for telling my parents that my brother is not welcome in my house? I don't think I've done something wrong here, but since most of my relatives call me the arsehole, I might as well take some further judgment to see if I'm doing something that I haven't realised yet. I'm engaged to a wonderful woman. We are both 25 years old. I've been with her since we were 18. It's been 7 years and finally we're financially ready to move to our first house. Before we could make the decision to live together in our own place, she stayed over at my house for the past 2 years of the pandemic. We decided it would be best for her to save money for our future house instead of spending it on rent. Her parents also live in another state, so they're far away, so she couldn't stay with them. We got engaged a bit before COVID hit, and I've been living in my house since. My brother sometimes lives in the house, but he's also got his own place. The house we're living in is my parents'. My brother is a very inappropriate person who never knows where to stop with his jokes. He's implied he's a better fit for my fiancée as a joke. He's flirted with her multiple times while she's visibly uncomfortable, and when I defend my fiancée and tell my brother to leave her alone, he makes fun of me of being insecure, he'll steal my girl, and my mother always justifies him and says he's just joking and I'm overreacting. Last week during a fight my mum had with my brother basically owes money to my mum, and my mum simply said she wants the money back, she needs it. My brother then insulted my fiancée out of nowhere, telling my mum, if you need the money so much, go get them from that whore your other son bangs, who stays rent free in our house for the past 2 years, and she hasn't put a penny in it. I overheard him saying that, and we got in a huge fight. For the record, my fiancée helps a lot with the house, both in housework, but financially too. But due to the fact that her paycheck is lower than mine, she gives less money than I do, because she can't afford to give more, but she still helps. So my brother's claim is baseless. After some back and forth insults with my brother, he left and I told my mum he's not allowed to step foot in my new house. Thankfully my fiancée was at work during that fight, so she didn't hear a thing. But I told my mum that him making my fiancée uncomfortable for 2 years straight was bad enough, but calling her a whore is the last straw, and he won't be allowed anywhere near her ever again. My mum, dad, and basically many of my aunts, uncles and cousins found out about this and claim I'm the arsehole and ungrateful for daring to ban my brother from my house, and how I should be ashamed to say that. Am I the arsehole? Nope, you and your fiancé are definitely not the arseholes in this situation. The fact that he's been flirting with her and making her feel uncomfortable up to this point automatically made him the arsehole for me. That was before he called him a whore. It just shows what he thinks of your fiancé, and I wouldn't want someone like that around my fiancé as well. Brother or not, there's clearly something going on. There's clearly some resentment going on towards you here, I think. And it's quite shocking that your family doesn't see that as well, especially as he made this whole comment to your mum and she's still backing him over this. Absolutely not the arsehole to me. But let's move to the comments to see what they say, with Hexen G, who says, "Not the arsehole, your house, your rules. He sounds like a dirtbag, to be honest. Hope you and your fiance have a smooth move in, and congrats on the new house." Hello Friends replies to that saying, 2 years is a long time for your fiance to endure that type of mistreatment in her own residence. You're the arsehole for not putting a stop to it from the very beginning. Like if that was me, the confrontation would have been loud and severe on day 1. Day 2, if he has so much makes another flirt, yelling would ensue and no contact until he shapes up and genuinely shows me he's changed. I'd make that awkward as hell that it would freeze it. Grow a backbone, homie. Heather90 says, "Not the arsehole. At minimum, it would be your house, and if you don't want him there for any reason, that's your choice. He has continuously disrespected your fiance and your relationship. No one would want to openly invite that into their home." Senior Salamander 77 says, "Not the arsehole, not the arsehole, not the arsehole. First of all, you don't have to explain your girlfriend's finances at all, and I would put a stop to that the second he brings it up. Your brother took money from your mum, so he owes it. Nothing else going on in her life matters. Doesn't matter if she lets a million girls stay in her house for free, he owes your mum money and he's deflecting responsibility. Your mum, she's an enabler who seems to have nurtured this behaviour. Even if he's the nicest guy in the world, you're allowed to have boundaries. You can refuse to allow anyone in your home for any reason. Not only is he nasty to your girlfriend, he's a misogynist, nasty to your mum, a bad brother and manipulative. People like that only wreak havoc on your life." Riversong777 says, "Not the arsehole, but I'd also take a long hard look at your other family members who are excusing his behaviour, especially at your mum, who seems to have been enabling him for years." Jersey says, "Everyone but you and your fiancés are the assholes. Flirting with her when not only she felt uncomfortable, but she was also his brother's fiancé was already bad. But calling her a whore just because she didn't give in, probably why he called her that, and diminishing the help she offered to the house both financially and physically when he owed money to his own mother makes him one of the types of people I'd never wish to meet." Now, what do you guys make of this situation? I think it's a clear not the arsehole, but what would you do about the brother? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and all of your thoughts on today's stories if you choose to share them. A huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for being involved in today's stories, subscribing to the channel, liking it really helps out, and I can never express that enough. Thank you for your love, your support, and your time, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love. Woo. I've been thinking about your smile. I've been thinking that I can't let you go.